you don't have to. Here at Cyber News, we've spent thousands of hours analyzing dozens of providers.
All the models are getting better, and they're all going to get really good. And maybe we should be focused more on how people are using these products and the engagement behavior.
I mean, they're primarily using it to cheat on schoolwork. That's the #1 use case still. And they've gotten insane at that. The ability to just use like screen snap, answer the question. I think Google Gemini with Nano Banana can, look at this. This is AI image generated. As in you can write the problem in your own handwriting and it will solve it for you step by step in your handwriting. It's cooked. Students are gonna learn nothing and have AI do their homework. Like he's talking about like it's in the far off future. This is happening right now. This is happening right now. Most students I know use AI to understand.
This shit is making us dumber. It's doing all of our thinking for us, but the thing is half the time the shit's not even right.
And I get answers rather than just straight up copying it. You might know the nicer students. I don't think that's the spread. That sounds like copium, bro. That sounds like copium. I'm not sure. I'm sure some people do. I'm no doubt. But you know, I have friends who are teachers. I got 2 friends who are teachers in Arizona, and what they tell me is that it's cooked, bro. It's just cooked. People are cheating on everything. What do you think about Gemini training on YouTube videos? Could that mean we get AI truck automation in the future? I mean, maybe. Yeah. I took every shortcut in high school, and this had been around. I would have used the fuck out of it. Yeah, if this had existed when I was a League of Legends addict in college, I wouldn't have learned a single damn thing. And I barely learned a damn thing as it is. I would have cheated on everything, bro. Like, this system isn't designed for this level of tech. This tech breaks the school system.
The worst part about it is that the AI itself is usually not even correct. And I know so many people who are using AI as if it was like a Google substitute instead of reading articles themselves and figuring out the answers for themselves. They just rely on ChatGPT to do it. And it's going to make people stupid. And I mean, I'm not saying that ChatGPT and AI isn't a good tool, but if you've ever like asked it a question about something you actually know, it's very obvious it doesn't know anything that it's talking about. It's just giving you shit that it thinks sounds correct, but it's not.
I feel like you can't cheat regarding languages. You actually need to speak it. I mean,
are you wondering how much it will cost you to start off a company in Dubai or anywhere in the UAE? Check out.
For real world use cases, yeah, all this cheating won't help, of course. But the way school is set up is like a lot of it's based on grades, on assignments, on homework, on writing things. And if you can cheat on that and get the points, you can often skate through without having ever learned anything. And then you can even graduate without having learned anything. That's the idea. You can't cheat in-person finals. First of all, a lot of people do. I don't know how to break this to you. People use their phone to cheat because now you can snapshot it and it gives you the answers. And people are cheating on that. You know, that's a good point though. Listen, it is a great tool to learn. It really is. Using ChatGPT and now Gemini, I've tried both, to quiz myself on something is like a really good way to get me to remember it and actually understand it. Because that's how brains work. You need like the tension of trying to solve it. You can't just ingest the information. You have to like stress test it and then it actually gets locked into your brain. And it's awesome. It's great. It's like a really useful thing that didn't exist before. But that's like a tiny % of how it's used, I think. They figured out in-person tests already. Dude, what is this? This is a AI 84 calculator, ChatGPT, ultimate cheating calculator. Oh, that's so cooked. That's so
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it's not necessarily the fact that schooling and education is screwed. It seems more like standardized testing is screwed. Now they're going to have to come up with different ways to actually educate people.
So fucking cooked. That's so fucking cooked. That's so crazy. It sounds like it seems like kind of a pain in the ass, though. I'll be honest with you. Typing the whole fucking question out like this and then having to read it on this type of format. That's crazy. See, I remember when you could download games on them. You could play Stickman or whatever. That was the big innovation when I was in high school, dude. Blockman. It was Blockman. Block Dude. It was Block Dude, right? Block Dude on TI-84. Dude, this shit was my jam.
I never fucked with those.
This was my jam, dude. Block Dude?
Yeah, I never messed with
those.
those.
This shit was crazy. TI-84 been doing the same thing for 30 years and it's more expensive? Fucking true. Yeah, they haven't changed it. Not one bit, really. That's a business model right there. Get Lena Khan on there.
Yes, it was $250 for the ultimate cheating test, but TI, Texas Instruments, will just come out with one that's official and they'll charge $500.
Ask Lena Khan got fired. I don't know how to tell you this. Lena Khan got fired. She doesn't have the authority to crack down on Texas Instruments.
So it does kind of feel like we're stuck in this like loop of just slightly improving models versus, as you're kind of saying, thinking about the actual products that are being built on them and whether those are actually useful and people are, you know, using those products.
I mean, they're very useful for cheating on homework. That's what we found. Cheating on homework, people that are too lazy to write wedding vows or... Dude, did you see the thing? Wait, okay, I'll kind of end on this. This was so sad. This was a Reddit post, our relationship advice. He wrote, 35 male, was caught using AI to write wedding vows, and my partner, 34 female, walked out.
No. There's no way. That's such a fucking scummy thing to do. People are relying on AI to do the moral right thing now. Okay, hold on.
Out. What to do? The problem arose when it came to writing my vows. Don't get me wrong, I love many things about my partner, but I couldn't figure out how to put them into tangible vows. I decided to use ChatGPT so I can have something well written and expressive to share at the ceremony. The thing about my partner is she's very confrontational and no nonsense. If something annoys her, she immediately addresses it with no room for backing out. I also know she's expressed a disdain for AI in the past, but I didn't realize how far the hatred could go. I don't
So it just sounds like this guy is just blaming his partner for him using AI.
know how, but she immediately recognized the vows were AI. After I finished, she had this angry look and whispered to me, "Did you use fucking AI to write that?" Oh my fucking God. I was quiet because I couldn't believe she had noticed that and she was choosing to address it while we were on full display for everyone. She then said I either speak from the heart or she walks out.
This is fake.
I couldn't get any words out and she kept her promise and walked back down the aisle, much to all our friends and family's confusion. She's been ghosting, and then they had a follow-up, and apparently they're just not together. Is it supposed to even real? I mean, you can never know, right? But this could have happened because I was at a wedding where a maid of honor wrote her vows with AI, 100%. 100% this happened. So this is not an unrealistic story. This is a very normal story.
Wow.
People are saying fake like this doesn't happen. Of course this has happened. This has absolutely happened.
Humanity's
I would bet
doomed.
$1 million that someone has written their wedding vows with AI. Of course. I wish they had the vows, though. It'd be fun to read them. Absolutely. Here are wedding vows which express your true and heartfelt feelings for your partner. As a large language model, I am not able to write wedding vows about a person I've never met. It's embarrassing when someone gives a speech, you can immediately clock it's AI. Yeah, it is. And it's happened to me a couple times now that I've heard it. You can just tell. This is not just a wedding, it's a lifetime commitment. Holy fuck. There's a lot of people that use them on dating apps, and I can't tell if I'm dating her or the AI. Yeah, I can imagine. My cousin used AI to write a speech at our great-grandma's funeral and kept getting praised for how good the speech was. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, dude. There's an update post? Yeah, this is the update. This is what I'm talking about. 25 days ago, the guy had an update, and he said, she found out about the Reddit post, and she was even more angry for posting our business online. He tried to give her snacks and flowers, and she didn't give him another chance, and now that's it. They're not happening.
Good
Feel
for
free to go
her.
stalk my Tom Megan's account. People are saying no way the story is real. What gives you that confidence? Do you think that no one's done this in the world? People have absolutely done this. I'm not saying I know whether it's real or not. I'm just saying you have no more knowledge than anyone else. And you are acting like this wouldn't happen, but this would absolutely happen. People are cheating people are literally using it for breakup texts. They're using it for counseling. They're using it for friends asking for help. They're using it for...
I'm genuinely curious to know how much is it an epidemic right now of AI? Is everyone using AI for literally everything now at this point? I don't know. Because like I was saying earlier, I don't know how anyone can rely on it. All you have to do is just ask it a question on a topic that you know what you're talking about. And and it'll just be wrong. And it's almost always wrong. I think it's pretty obvious. Just ask any of these AIs something that you know about. Ask it a question, and it'll be clear that they have no idea what they're talking about.
Graduation speeches they're using for the... Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is like a totally realistic thing that would happen. I have a good strategy when I want to ghost a girl without saying it. I just start talking like obvious ChatGPT, and they always get mad and stop talking. That's even worse than ghosting.
That's bad, yeah.
What a stupid strategy. just ghost. At my wedding, my wife's sibling wrote a speech, then fed it into AI with the prompt to replace all words with a fancier word. Then they had to read this word vomit, and it was so cringe, especially because my groomsman wrote a good speech. Dude, okay, here's another thing I want to say, though. It's possible that your wife's sibling did do this. But here's what I am hearing. A lot of people have been using the excuse, I wrote my thoughts and I had ChatGPT polish it up. That's what people have been saying. And that's not true. I know what you did. You barely wrote shit, and ChatGPT wrote the whole fucking thing. I know what happened. I'm sick of this. This is coming up a lot. People are like, well, no, it's really my words. I just had it. And it's like, no, dude. I know what's going on. We all know what's going on. It's a fucking prompt. Prompt of whatever. Okay, tighten it up. Okay, change this. Okay, yeah, it's vibe written.
Yeah.
It's like a linguistic fantasy we're putting
I'd
over
walk
the
out.
top of actually writing.
I'd
I have
walk
to go
out
through
too.
and dumb down what group project members write. Dude, I mean, so, you know, I'm addicted to reading our teachers. I don't know why. But the number one method they have discovered to make a student admit that they cheated is to ask them to read what they wrote and explain it. Just literally ask them what this means, what the words they wrote mean. And they can't do it.
Smart.
They have no idea. And then they often drop the fucking, well, I had ChatGPT polish it, but it's just been solved. This has been figured out. Is it bad though? Like if you're bad at writing but want to break up with someone, then let them down easy. I couldn't put the words together to express my feelings and intentions, so I used ChatGPT. I think it is bad because I think especially if the person recognizes what you're doing, it's horrible. That
Yeah.
alone is horrible because to them, it's like the ultimate insult that you couldn't write from the heart, even if it was worse. But
Because what these fucking people are doing is they're letting ChatGPT do the thinking for them. They're basically half-assing their thoughts, putting it into these AIs, and then letting AI do the thinking for them. But the thing is, these AIs don't do any thinking. I think it's beyond insulting. If someone used ChatGPT to talk to me and I found out about it, I probably wouldn't talk to that person anymore. So you care so little about our friendship and our conversations that you let an AI do it for you? Fuck you.
struggle in that situation, again, if you're generating like if it's like boilerplate documentation copy or something, there's examples where ChatGPT doesn't need the writing doesn't need the human spirit, and ChatGPT can. Dude, I saw the greatest example of how AI is gonna fucking make an impact in the workplace straight up. Some dude fed an entire like 700-page Excel document into AI, and they had to reformat it for new, I don't know, like GDPR regulations or whatever. It analyzed it all, then asked the right questions on what things he wanted to pick, then it output it in the format he needed, and then he, an expert, checked it, and it was good. That was crazy. I mean, I'm sorry, but that is very, very useful. That is going to change the way certain jobs work, undoubtedly, because it literally is 1,000 times quicker than a team of using. Okay, I don't doubt that. I'm not fucking crazy. Of course that's better. But if you're writing a breakup text to someone that's important to you, the thing you need is not the most eloquent, verbose paragraph. What you need is to say something real, something that means something. And the struggle to do that is important. Even if you fuck this one up and they don't like it, you'll learn from that to do it better in the future, because it's an important skill to have. Offloading that is like a big waste of time, bro. I wish I had that clip though, because it was actually mind-blowing.
Stop! Let me tell you about this little Black Friday deal.
Commercialism,
just
shove in your
20 seconds.
face.
Here it is. I found it. Oh my God. This is an unignorable feature. And I know there's some people that want AI to disappear and never come back, and it's all fake and it's going to blow up. First of all, I agree that financially, none of the things make sense right now. And there's going to be, I think there's going to be some kind of correction. But the truth is, the technology, like the internet, is here to stay in some way. And this is real. This is.
here's the thing: is what I think based on what like the AI models now, they're really shitty. I mean, I've tried using them for coding stuff, and even they're wrong all the time. That I'll ask it for advice on like, hey, I'm trying to do this. What should I do? Here's the code that I have. How would I fix it? Throw it into these AI models, and then it'll spit out stuff. And it'll spit out stuff that looks like it would work, but then you realize that none of the fucking functions in it are real. So I don't know if maybe it's the free ones that I'm using. Like maybe I have to use that wouldn't surprise me if you have to use a purchased version to actually have one that's not stupid. But I mean, I think the typical AIs though are so bad, in just in the terms of like of actual thinking, because they don't think. They aren't trying to sound real, or how am I saying it? I don't know. Whatever.
This is crazy.
So Opus has the sort of intelligence required to go through the sheet and ask me the right questions. It asked me how we should break down different line items and if it should classify each of them. I said, yeah, go for it.
Dude, I mean, this type of work is it's just weeks of banging your head into it. And this did it like instant.
Yeah.
After clarifying the stuff that it needed to clarify, it presented to me a plan, and I said,
See, this is why I think these models are going to try to rush to AGI. I think these companies are going to rush to artificial general intelligence because the typical AI now, it's not real. It's not really thinking. It's just, that's what I was trying to say earlier. It's just made to look like it knows what it's talking about, but it really doesn't. So I think these companies are trying to rush to AGI so they can, before the bubble pops.
said go for it. And here we'll watch Opus fill in a huge 3-statement model as it converts it using all natural Excel formulas.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. So it's also not OpenAI, by the way. It's also not OpenAI. So there's just no doubt about it that there's going to be a change. It is going to have a material impact on business that's long term. It's not a fake thing. But in terms of using it in human real life, I find that to be reprehensible, bro. I think it's crazy. I think it's like, it's such a self-defeating use case. A Japanese game studio is making applicants draw in front of them during interviews to prove they don't use generative AI. I saw that tech companies in China are spontaneously during the interview asking applicants to close their eyes before they answer a question. Like on this one, close your eyes so they can't be reading off another monitor. Yeah, the evolution around this AI stuff is pretty crazy. Closed eye filter, insane. Insane next level cat and mouse game.
Yeah. People start using that, those closed eyes filters, shit, that'd be funnier than hell. The world is actually flooding on December 25th. Let's see what Charlie has to say.
Are we staring down the pipe of the end times?
Yes.
Are we about to experience an apocalyptic flood a mere 3 or so weeks away, as prophesied by a guy on TikTok?
I hope.
A chosen one, whom the Lord apparently dropped this patch note to with a little sneak peek, giving him a warning, and then also issuing him the noble task of building arcs to save as many as possible. On the surface, it might sound silly that a lot of people are genuinely questioning if this prophecy is going to come true, much like the last Doomsday TikTok prediction. But when you really dive into the meat and potatoes of it and get into the weeds, it's even sillier that anyone, even a single person, would for some reason believe this. It is always just a source, trust me bro type moment. A guy on TikTok claims he received a vision from God, and he draws a big distinction that this is not a prophecy per se, just a vision of the end, that on December 25th the world would, start flooding, wiping us all out, and that he is now, going the route of Noah, needing to build arcs to save people. And that's exactly what he's been doing. His math, I think, is a little off when it comes to his estimations on how many people they can hold. I've seen a bunch of big numbers tossed around, and based on the video footage he's provided of the boats he's building, I don't think the numbers he's proposing would ever work unless everyone gets hit by a fucking shrink ray or something. Like, it'd be real tough to start making those numbers work that he's tossing around all loosey-goosey. But as for if the world's going to be flooding in 3 weeks, I'm not exactly sold on that. I live my life by a simple rule. There are 2 kinds of men on this planet. Men that have tried to suck their own dicks, and liars. I don't exactly know where this guy fits into that yet. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see on December 25th if the world starts flooding. And if it does, Jiminy Christmas, I'm gonna feel like a real fool for not believing him and booking a ticket for one of the arcs. I just learned about.
Honestly, at this point, though, the way how the world seems to be going, would you be surprised at that point if the world does flood? I mean,
this on stream a little bit ago, but then dove in and did my own homework on it, perusing TikTok, the experts, and there are quite a few videos with millions of views talking about this and showing like some level of genuine concern. Some of them are just trolling, but there are people that actually think this one's got some real oomph to it because he did build some boats. He did build some arcs. Gotta tell you, sports fans, even if the world doesn't flood in 3 or so weeks, this guy's still going to be set like a sailor here with all these boats he's got at his disposal now. Man, fucking, maybe it wasn't the Lord who gave him that task. Maybe Davy Jones came to him in a dream to build some boats, and dag nabbit, it did work. He's got quite an impressive collection of boats now that he is building.
Cyber Week en Esculinari, 50% de descuento. Aprende las últimas tendencias con chefs Estrella Michelin.
Did he talk about the guy who's creating the Noah's Ark and said December 24th the world is going to be flooded? Another doomsday prophecy? No, what's his name? I'll check it out. Yeah, he said the events of the Bible would reenact themselves on the 25th of December onward. Who? You keep saying he. Who is it? Noah? Did he himself come back? He respawned? Like, who is it? Ken Ham. Are you sure it's Ken Ham? Because this is old. This is a guy who built the Ark Encounter, where he made like a tourable Noah's Ark.
Oh, that douchebag?
There's no people keep reciting the goddamn prophecy without saying who prophesized it. What good is that? Who is it that built the Ark and is saying the world is flooding in 3 weeks? I want to look it up. I gotta get prepared if he's right. The guy's name is literally Noah. I'm just gonna try and type like a fucking caveman here. Well, that didn't work. Oh, wait. Is this it? Ebo Noah? Oh my god, wait, that my search actually did work. I typed that in like an actual Neanderthal. I typed in, he said world flood December 24th built Ark. And it worked. Is this it? Ebo Noah sends warning to people ahead of the December 25th flood that he said God revealed to him on flooding the earth and to make an arch to accommodate every living creature on earth in pairs just like Noah did in the Bible.
Yeah, it's not happening.
It looks pretty cool. Is that big enough for every living creature on earth in pairs? Like that? I don't know, it seems like maybe 2 stories high.
Yeah.
You need like the PIM particles to shrink them in order to make that work. Can I see a video of it? Oh, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow us introduce the man, the myth, and the carpenter of the century, Ebo Noah, just Ghana's very own Noah II. According to him, a massive flood is coming on the 25th of December, and he's not just talking, the man has already constructed 8 arcs.
He made 8? Wait, that's very impressive. Holy.
That is impressive. 8
I'm not exactly sold on the prophecy here. I don't know if he's necessarily Baba Vanga level, but his carpentry, it's pretty impressive.
250,000 pounds in wood alone. Each ark can take 5,000 people, he said.
5,000 people where?
And carry 600 million people. I have questions for Ebo Noah. How and where is he getting the money to buy the wood for the arks? And then why is he wasting a lot of money knowing perfectly that this isn't true? Well, let's wait for 25th and see what happens.
Man, this guy's got like a whole shipyard here. It's like when Luffy and the gang go to Water 7. Like, holy shit. He actually did build a lot of these bitches, huh?
When it doesn't flood, you can
Very
sell
cool
it to
looking.
Ham.
I can tell you one thing, 5,000 people and every living creature on Earth in pairs ain't fitting on those.
It's for only those who have a covenant with God.
Oh, sword clashing sound effect there.
Okay, I will never insult you. The number is 054155.
Whoa, okay, wait a minute. Man's dropping his cell phone number there for a second. I just want to know about the prediction, brother. I'm not here to start no shit. I just want to know where the prediction's coming from is all. I'm gonna tell you, that's a lot of wood. I'm gonna tell you,
My ass.
probably not gonna get a whole lot of use out of the arcs. Is this the blueprint?
Doesn't look that big.
Because it is not that big, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
God literally said he'd never flood the earth again. It's why he made the rainbow. Someone that actually read the Bible. You're right. But he also said no one would ever know when he was going to do it. No man would ever see it coming. I am curious if, this happens all the time now with, doomsday prophecies, and people do believe it. But I wonder in this case how many people actually think the world is flooding in 3 weeks. And if there's a lot of people right now booking flights to Ghana to get on his arcs. I'd be very interested to know. I can't imagine it's like a ton of people. But even just a handful would be fascinating. Maybe you're just trying to start a boat business and this is the hook. What a banger marketing scheme that would be. I had this...
Yeah, it could be... I have all these boats. It's a leftover boat sale. No flooding boat sale.
Dream about the world flooding, so I built these boats. Didn't flood. But now I'm selling these boats. You too can own your own ark. Why not just get some of the boats that already exist? No, what? Boats that already exist? Those aren't arcs, brother. What are you talking about? No. Seems like it's becoming even more common now for easy TikTok views to just start making doomsday predictions now because people will actually believe it for some reason. But I will say, those boats look pretty cool. Like they seem like high quality vessels. Don't know if they're going to get much of a workout when it comes to like a global flood or anything, but I bet they'd be a lot of fun to take out for a spin regardless. Anyway though, that's really about it.
I'd get on one of those boats. I mean, I they looked sturdy. I don't know though, actually. I don't know if I would.
Yep.
At one point in his career...
So, this guy was the TikTok guy, right? I don't know... He kind of just disappeared, so what happened to him?
Kabi Lami was everywhere, from partnering with some of the world's biggest brands, to famous athletes striking his iconic pose for celebration, and even Fortnite releasing his very own skin. He seemed to have conquered the internet, and this fame ultimately helped him become the biggest TikTok star in the world, with more than 160 million followers. But lately, that crown has started to slip. He's losing hundreds of thousands of followers month after month, and the general sentiment regarding his content has never been more negative. At this rate, this might just be the end of Kabi Lami's massive TikTok empire. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we are talking about the possible downfall of TikTok's biggest star and uncovering why the internet turned against Kabi Lami. Let me know that you're still on my side by subscribing, and let's get on with the video. But before we can understand his downfall, we need to look back at what made him so big in the first place. Karbane Sirijin Lami, or Kabi Lami, was born in Senegal on March 9th, 2000. A year later, his family moved to Italy, settling in a poor area outside of the city Turin. These circumstances marked most of Kabi's early life with financial struggles and limited opportunities. After school, he started working as a CNC machine operator at a factory to help support his family.
Why the... Why is he doing that? Poor guy.
But when the COVID pandemic hit, he was laid off in March 2020 and suddenly found himself stuck at home. And that's when he started posting on TikTok. His early videos were mostly him dancing and doing short comedy sketches. Even though these videos did fairly well, earning him over 4,000 followers in the first month,
Mi spiegate perché su TikTok siamo così?
there was one problem. Kabi only knew Italian.
Cazzi, buongiorno. Buongiorno, un paio di cazzi. Oggi voglio interrogare.
And that language barrier limited his reach. So he started experimenting with
Why does he keep changing this guy's...
videos where he didn't have to speak at all.
What if I told you your daily walk could be your most creative work time? With WhisperFlow,
opening him up to a more global audience. But the real breakthrough came on April 8th, 2021, when he posted a video reacting to a life hack. This otherwise simple video went viral overnight, gaining over 200 million views and over 32 million likes. Building on that momentum, he posted a few more similar videos in the following days. And each one of these pulled similar numbers, turning him into an internet sensation practically overnight. To give you an idea of just how big of a phenomenon Kabi was, he gained over 50 million followers, a number most won't reach in their lifetime in less than 2 months.
That's insane.
With every upload now pulling tens of millions, sometimes even hundreds of millions of views, people loved his unique style of comedy and deadpan reactions. But more importantly, his silence made him relatable across every language and culture. He spoke 1,000 words without opening his mouth. My guy just explained everything with no words. This global appeal also came with massive partnership potential, and brands were quick to notice. By August 2021, he was collaborating with Italy's biggest soccer team to create content, and just months later signed a multi-year deal with Hugo Boss. But Kabi's meteoric rise wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Behind the viral fame and brand deals, a few controversies began threatening his perfect image. Like in August 2021, right after he crossed the 100 million followers mark, some of his old clips resurfaced on the internet, showing him making fun of people for their appearances. This understandably upset some viewers, who called him out for body shaming. Can't believe I even followed him. Body shaming is so disgusting. That's so rude, I can't believe he—
That sucks. I don't really think what he did was that bad. I mean, it was just... I mean, body shaming, yeah. Was childish, yeah, but... something like that, so silly and stupid, can just completely ruin any chance you have at having some sort of a career.
He would do that. Soon, entire accounts dedicated to cancelling Kabi started popping up on TikTok. Some fans defended him, arguing that he shouldn't be banned over jokes he made long ago. You guys are so dramatic, this was 8 months ago. Y'all getting mad over something a year ago. But as it turned out, the cancellation attempt wasn't even real. You see, Charli D'Amelio was still the most followed TikToker, but Kabi was quickly closing in and it looked like he'd surpass her soon. Allegedly, this caused a large number of her fans to begin flaming Kabi, hoping he'll stagnate before passing their favorite creator. They're cancelling Kabi because he's gonna pass Charli. In the end, the controversy didn't last
This makes me wish the flood was coming.
long, and the accusations barely made a dent in Kabi's unstoppable rise. But soon, Kabi would find himself at the center of an even stranger allegation. Just weeks after the body shaming controversy, some people suddenly started unfollowing him on Instagram on October 6, 2021. This happened after he posted a story that read, "Say no to racism," and his next story revealed how some of his followers were bizarrely angry about his anti-racist stance. I'm seeing a lot of comments where people say, "I unfollow you because you did this video." I don't mind, guys, we are almost in 2022 and people still use racism because they have nothing to do in their life. You can also unfollow me. I don't care about the numbers, I care about your hearts. He followed this with an Instagram post where he was helping a white person pull a sword out of the ground, stating, "In a racist society, it's not enough to be non-racist. We must be anti-racist." Though, despite the backlash, these
I mean, that's cringy as shit. I don't think he deserved to be canceled for it.
petty scandals did little to slow him down, as he continued growing at an incredible pace. By June 2022, Kabi Lami had officially become the biggest creator on TikTok with over 142 million followers to his name. That same year, he also earned a spot on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, and went on to win the International Content Creator category at the 12th Streamy Awards. This also allowed him to partner with some of the biggest brands in the world, such as Xbox, Pepsi, and Kellogg's.
Oh, no way! Free exclusive character item?
He has also continued his spot at the top of TikTok over the years, but recently, Kabi's unstoppable reign on TikTok is slipping right through his fingers. Since August 2024, his account has been on a losing streak, shedding a huge number of followers almost every single month. To put things into perspective, he's lost 500,000 followers in the last 2 months alone. And it's not just the followers, most of his recent uploads are also struggling to cross the 10 million views mark. And while those numbers might sound impressive for most creators, they're a massive drop from the tens of millions of views he was pulling just a couple of years ago. Scrolling through his comment sections on his recent uploads paints an even more alarming picture, with most of the top comments being nothing but negative. It's time to retire, Unk. Unk's still dragging it. Even the ones that aren't outright hating are only there to declare just how much they miss the old Kabi Lami. So what exactly is pulling TikTok's biggest star down this path of irrelevancy? One possible reason for this sudden drop might be the simple fact that Kabi just isn't posting as much anymore. At his peak, he was uploading every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, but now it's only a few videos each month. And even then, most of these posts are clearly sponsored. But the real reason behind his decline might go a lot deeper than that. The thing is, ever since Kabi first blew up, his content has largely stayed the same. For nearly 4 years, he's been doing the same comedy sketches and reaction style videos, pointing out obvious solutions with the same old deadpan expression. While that formula once made him a global sensation, it's starting to feel repetitive, and people have grown tired of seeing it on their For You page. Kabi Lami is extremely overrated, and I don't get what makes his content funny or original. All his videos are basically just stealing someone's video, then adding his reaction at the end, which is basically him doing a duck face while pulling out some dry joke that people somehow find hilarious. Many also think that he's now forcing the formula by reacting to life hacks that are clearly meant to be jokes in the first place. I liked his intention at the beginning, with the rise of stupid life hacks on TikTok, but now he is really out of ideas and totally misses the point of some TikToks. 90% of TikToks are low effort, and completely missing the point of TikToks he is making fun of. And that might just explain the sudden decline in his followers. Kabi's silent comedy worked at the start because it was new, but after years of milking it with little to no innovation, it has lost its charm, leaving Kami stuck in a strange spot. He's grown so big that anytime he posts, he risks boring out some of his old audience, but changing it might alienate the followers who made him famous in the first place. That said, maybe that's fine. Maybe this decline isn't as bad as it seems at a first glance, because while his numbers on TikTok are dropping, Kabi seems to be setting his sights beyond social media. He has already made his big TV debut by becoming a judge in the 13th season of Italia's Got Talent. Earlier this year, he was also invited to the Met Gala, allowing him to share the red carpet with some of the biggest names in pop culture, and he's even started to make his way into Hollywood, appearing in a cameo role in the Will Smith movie Bad Boys.
See you putting your gun away? He's putting his gun away.
Kabi has often talked about his dream of working in movies, and with reports of his very own film 00 Kabi now in the works, that dream might finally be turning into a reality. So while his TikTok era may be slowing down, Kabi Lami's story might just be entering a brand new chapter.
You would prefer—
Yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of the thing with these internet reels and stuff like that. These reels and TikToks and stuff is that they're basically just fads. They're consumable fads that, you know, they're like the internet equivalent of those silly bands, right? Eventually people will just discard it, yeah. Because, I mean, he's put into a no-win situation. I mean, what's he supposed to... he can change up the things that he does, but then he alienates the people who followed him. But then if he continues doing the same bit that he does, then it gets old and stale. But good for him for using it to capitalize and finding other careers, like with, you know, that Italy's Got Talent. That's good for him. Because I don't know, I had one TikTok reel that went viral, and then a bunch of people followed me, which was, you know, I'm very grateful for, but I don't really know why they did. Because and then you feel obligated. Once people follow you for a specific type of content, then you almost feel obligated to keep trying to make that content just to appease these people who followed you. And then if you don't appease them, then they insult you. And that's okay, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. Because then I started losing followers on Instagram, and that's fine. Because I don't know why so many people followed me to begin with. I appreciate that they did, but I don't think I'm that interesting. And the TikTok or the reel that I made was only once. It was only like a one-time thing. So I don't know. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back.
Prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
Yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is Peter Thiel.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
Should
in
the
this.
human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But
He's been a major player in Silicon Valley for a long, long time.
I'm Peter Thiel. I build companies and I support people who are building new things, from social networks to rocket ships.
You might know him as the multi-billionaire who co-founded PayPal and Palantir, as Facebook's first outside investor, the guy who funds out their projects like floating countries, private space travel, and the quest for immortality. Peter Thiel rejects the idea that death is inevitable. He wants to transform humanity.
transhumanism was this radical.
Someone like him, who is in the position that he is in, and is trying to achieve immortality, is someone who should never have immortality.
Transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind and change your whole body.
But he also wants to change something else. For decades, Thiel has schemed from the shadows to reshape American politics.
Tonight, I urge all of my fellow Americans to stand up and vote for Donald Trump.
He bankrolled Trump's first campaign. He turbocharged J.D. Vance's career. Thiel openly questions the democratic system, and he's declared that to him, freedom is incompatible with democracy. His vision of an ideal society sounds more like an oligarchy, a country ruled by a few powerful rich people, or even just one. Today, his influence is rapidly expanding across the world. From the beginning of his career, he's been building tools to rewire how power works. Palantir, his brainchild, enables intelligence agencies and militaries to anticipate their enemy's next move before it's made. Maybe even your next move, too. None of this happened by accident. Peter Thiel plays the long game. He's patiently planned his moves for decades, always several steps ahead. So what does Peter Thiel actually want? What's his problem with democracy? And is there an end game?
I just made a $27 ebook in 2 minutes using AI.
We're
Watch how I did it, so
becoming
you can
a fucking dystopia because of these cocksuckers, man. This is what happens when you allow sociopaths to rule the world.
This video is largely based on the research collected in The Contrarian, Peter Thiel and Silicon Valley's Pursuit of Power by Max Chafkin. You'll find a link in the description. New York City, 2010. A TV show has set up a night for Peter Thiel to meet Garry Kasparov, one of the greatest chess players of all time. Thiel and Kasparov have met before and get along well. They like chatting about politics, technology, and of course, chess. Peter Thiel's a die-hard chess fan. In fact, he's a national chess master. He's admired the Grandmaster Kasparov since he was a teenager. And the respect is mutual. Kasparov admires Thiel's intelligence and business sense.
He's one of the probably most successful entrepreneurs of his generation. He's very aggressively investing. He looks for the future.
Thiel's legendary status in business is hard to overstate. His companies have created technologies that have changed the course of the modern world. And his influence helped define tech, an industry that has produced millions of jobs and trillions of dollars of wealth. That night, Kasparov and Thiel hit up a chess club. Thiel plays a game of speed chess with the owner and wins.
I'm totally embarrassed.
Yes. I'm embarrassed as well.
Kasparov suggests his chess skills are probably why Thiel's such a successful businessman, and why he tends to hire chess players for his companies.
You know, that's why he's hiring chess players, you know? Peter just told me the story that one day had the IPO for PayPal. So he did a simul for 10 employees of PayPal.
And sure, Thiel is probably onto something. Chess skills transfer well into the world of business. It's a game of strategy, where it pays off to think several moves ahead. Skills that don't hurt in politics either. Sometime after this evening, Kasparov and Thiel drift apart. Maybe the two don't have that much in common after all. It's not just that the Russian Kasparov is a way better chess player. He's also one of the world's most prominent pro-democracy activists. He's a major thorn in Putin's side, tirelessly campaigning for a freer Russia.
So I'm fighting to restore democracy in my country. Trump's potential victory could threaten not only democracy in this country, but...
So Kasparov discovers that Thiel is a sociopath and wants to rule the world.
Democracy worldwide.
And Peter Thiel? Well, kind of the opposite trajectory. Critics warn he's emerging as a major threat to American democracy. Billionaires like Thiel reshaping politics is terrifying. Connecting to airport Wi-Fi ranks way lower on the scale. But having your data floating around unprotected online is a threat you can actually do something about. This is where today's sponsor NordVPN comes in. NordVPN will swing regular VPN malware, hack recognized by T, and go to nordvpn.com/ferntv for a huge discount plus 4 extra months. You can also actually just scan that QR code. Peter Thiel is around 8 years old when his family arrives in Swakopmund, a former German colony on Namibia's coast. He moved here with his parents and brother after some years in Ohio. During the 1970s, the city is occupied by apartheid South Africa. At the time, it's a town clinging to its German roots, where Hitler's birthday is still celebrated and the Nazi salute is a casual greeting for some. Peter's father, Klaus, takes an engineering job at a uranium mine.
It all makes sense. The dude's a fucking off-brand of Nazism.
Just outside town. The mine is controversial and shrouded in secrecy. According to international law, South Africa isn't allowed to mine here, but they go ahead anyway. Extracting Namibia's uranium is part of South Africa's nuclear weapons program. The regime is secretly developing bombs to defend against a possible Soviet attack and to protect the apartheid way of life. According to a former British activist group, black laborers have worked at the mine under dangerous conditions. Meanwhile, white families like the Teals enjoy a privileged life. Brand new medical facilities, country club memberships, kids in private school. Young Peter is reportedly first put in a whites-only school in Johannesburg, then in a German-language school in Swakopmund, where the curriculum pushes a Christian nationalist worldview and even paints whites.
So this motherfucker grew up in a whites-only school, speaking German.
South Africans as the real victims of the region. This is where Peter Thiel spends formative years. It's a world where his family benefits from a white supremacist regime, where his father actively advances its military interests. A world where the founding belief is that some people are meant to rule, and the majority must serve.
Hey you, it's me again. Are you still wondering how much it will cost you to start up a company in the UAE? Well, guess what? We have...
When Peter's 10, he and his family return to the US. Peter's developing into a classic nerd. He loves sci-fi and fantasy, especially Lord of the Rings. He's top of the class and becomes one of the country's top chess players under the age of 13. It's not cool to be a nerd in the 70s and 80s, so Peter is reportedly bullied on the regular. But he knows he's smart and going places. His chessboard has a sticker that says "Born to Win." Peter wants the best for himself, so he studies hard to get into the top university. At the time, Stanford is ranked #1 in the US. When he makes it there in 1985, Stanford's a huge letdown. Peter expects fellow overachievers, but finds a party scene instead. He'd rather hit the books than the bong, and he's once again teased for being a nerd. According to the author Max Chafkin, many of the students he perceived as bullies also identify as liberals, a connection that reportedly sticks with him. We in fact asked Thiel ourselves, but didn't get a response. Peter developed into a Reagan-supporting conservative. The campus itself feels far too left-wing for him. Anti-Reagan and anti-apartheid protests are prominent, and Peter starts to clash with demonstrators. In The Contrarian, Chafkin describes how classmates recall at least one instance where Peter defended apartheid as economically sound, an allegation that Thiel has since denied. At the time, some defenders of apartheid drew on libertarian arguments. Libertarians believe the best society maximizes personal and economic freedom while minimizing government control. They see free, unregulated markets as the best way to allocate resources and drive innovation. More radical libertarians value property rights and free markets above basically anything else. Critics say this leaves little room for values like social justice, which are cast as secondary or even incompatible with a libertarian
To my single watcher, you know, I can't watch this. I'm just getting too worked up. Let's watch Aliens. The Untold.
Seriously. You're prompting cursor over 100 times a day, but typing D.
Favorite movie of all time.
Get away from her, you...
A sequel is usually a mere shadow of the original. A legal robbery of the fandom, its weapons of choice, glamorous movie trailers, and Easter egg promises that entice you with hope to see more of what you loved the first time. But most fans stumble away from the scene of the crime confused as to whether that knot in their stomach is from stale popcorn or a huge helping of disappointment. But once in a while, a sequel comes along that makes you consider whether it might even be better than the original. And this is exactly what happened when the sequel of Alien hit theaters on July 19, 1986. Aliens, one of the greatest films of the 80s, had moviegoers leaving theaters repeating iconic lines like, "Game over, man!"
And they mostly come at night. Get away from her, you bitch!
Fans will argue to this day over which movie is better. And while everyone has their own personal take, one fan said, Alien is the better film, but Aliens is a whole lot more fun to watch. The sequel would expand the franchise's scope by adding to the series' backstory and factions, by giving us a first look at the company, introducing the Colonial Marines, and taking Ellen Ripley to the next level by giving her a mama bear complex. Those aliens never had a chance. And can you imagine? They could barely kill one alien the first time. What could they do against dozens? Nightmare-fueled fun would take Aliens to number 5 in the 1986 domestic box office, the same spot as Alien in 1979. While the incredible success of Aliens would ultimately cement the Alien franchise for the future, the story about how it was made will leave you astonished that this movie made it to the big screen at all. Oh yeah, and it helped launch the career of yet another legendary director. The experience of watching Aliens would not only leave us wanting more, but it leaves us with many questions too. Why did the studio drag its feet on a sequel? Why was the movie named Aliens instead of Alien 2? How did T almost ruin the film? And what was it about the script that nearly made Sigourney Weaver pass on making the movie at all? Well, you are about to find out, because this is the definitive history of Aliens, and you've never heard it told like this before. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please do so now, and give us a thumbs up if you want more videos like this. When Alien crushed the box office in 1979, earning more than $100 million, sequel talks began almost immediately. Brandywine Productions, who helped foster Alien to the big screen, was fully intent on making a sequel, and Alan Ladd Jr., the president of 20th Century Fox at the time, fully backed the project. It was full steam ahead for Alien 2. And then things changed. Ladd had been frustrated with 20th Century Fox chairman Dennis Stanfill and wanted more creative control over the projects he greenlit, like Star Wars and Alien. He was also frustrated because his staff wasn't being compensated well enough for their efforts. So in late 1979, Ladd decided he wouldn't re-up his contract and decided to start his own production company instead. A huge gamble, quitting his $2 million a year job, but that's what being responsible for movies like Star Wars and Alien will do for your confidence. And while he would never quite be able to reproduce his success with Star Wars and Alien, the Ladd Company would go on to produce hits like Blade Runner, Braveheart, and The Right Stuff. Perhaps a great move for Ladd, but for Brandywine, this was a disaster. Brandywine's executives, Walter Hill, David Giler, and Gordon Carroll, were still friends with Fox, basking in the incredible success they were sharing with Alien. But Ladd's departure brought in Norman Levy to run the studio. And the problem was, Levy didn't like Alien, and he didn't want a sequel to the movie. He thought it would be a disaster, although he would later walk that back, saying he always wanted to make the movie. But history doesn't corroborate. In fact, after Levy took over, Fox suddenly claimed Alien was a financial loss to the company. He claimed the movie lost $2 million in the 11 months following its release, despite earning more than $100 million against an $11 million budget. Industry accountants would call it creative Hollywood accounting, used to disguise Fox's revenue in order to limit payments to their partner Brandywine.
I don't know which species is worse. You don't see them f***ing each other over for a goddamn percentage.
When Fox refused a sequel, Brandywine sued them. It would take 4 years, but finally in 1983, Fox agreed to settle the suit by financing development of Alien 2. Would they be able to find another Ridley Scott whose life-altering experience with Star Wars had led him to Alien? Even more than Ridley Scott, James Cameron's life direction was totally altered by Star Wars. The college dropout truck driver, whose hobby had been learning the movie-making process, walked out of the theater in 1977 and quit his job to get in the movie business. After creating a 12-minute short called Xenogenesis, Cameron showed up on the doorstep of Roger Corman's little production company, New World Pictures, and wanted to be hired as a production assistant. They saw he had the talent and hunger and gave him the job. Ironically, had O'Bannon and Shusett sold Alien to Corman, it would have likely been the first film Cameron worked on. As Cameron was working through Corman's ranks, he saw Alien and was stunned.
Well, I've had a few, I would say fairly profound experiences in a cinema, and one of them was the opening night of Alien.
He was so impressed by the world, the characters, and the design Scott had created. He thought Scott set the bar very high for science fiction moving forward. During the previous 4 years, Cameron had graduated from the School of Corman and wrote a script called The Terminator. Filming for The Terminator was supposed to begin in early 1983, with Cameron directing. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was playing the Terminator, had been optioned for 9 months while filming Conan the Destroyer. So while he waited, Cameron accepted a job co-writing Rambo First Blood Part 2 with Sylvester Stallone. During that time, Brandywine got their hands on the Terminator script.
I had been given the script of Terminator to read. I thought the script was really great. And then when I met Jim, okay, this is the guy.
David Giler would think, well, he knows Alien better than we do. In November 1983, Cameron submitted a 42-page film treatment for Alien 2.
Cameron's challenge was how to top the first one,
which he'd written in 3 days. It was based on Giler and Hill's suggestion of Ripley and Soldiers. It was a cross between the 1981 Southern Comfort film and The Magnificent Seven. But the treatment failed to impress Fox. One of the executives told Cameron it was a wall-to-wall horror show and it needed more character development. Fox was so down on Alien they tried to sell it to the producers of Rambo, but the lawyers couldn't get the deal done. Meanwhile, Cameron took his downtime waiting for Arnold and kept working on the script until it was time to start shooting Terminator. He had completed 90 pages and was in the second act. Fox read it and loved it. They agreed to wait for Cameron to finish making Terminator so he could complete the script. But he didn't just want to write the script. He wanted to direct. Fox agreed that if Terminator was successful, then they'd let him direct Alien 2. And successful it was. The film premiered on October 26, 1984, and was #1 at the box office. It remained #1 for 2 weeks.
If Terminator hadn't been such a success when it premiered, I doubt that Jim would have been brought on to direct.
Cameron went to a meeting with Fox executives who needed to give the final approval, which included a budget, Cameron to direct, and his partner and girlfriend Gail Ann Hurd to produce. Hurd had been an assistant and producer for Roger Corman. During the deliberation, Cameron turned his script over and wrote the word alien on the back side of the last page. Then he drew 2 vertical lines through the S and held it up to show them. Cameron would say maybe it was seeing the $sign so close to Alien, or maybe it was the confidence I was projecting. But they said yes, and Alien 2 became Aliens. Although there was still a huge battle over the budget and the star to come. Some fans have wondered why Ridley Scott didn't direct the second movie, and the truth is, he was never asked. Scott believed it was because he was so difficult to work with on the original, but if they wanted to follow up a strong female lead performance with another one, they had the right guy for the job. Cameron was a champion of the strong female heroine, feeling like it distinguished his films from typical Hollywood action movies. Sarah Connor had learned how to fend for herself in The Terminator, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do with Ripley. To keep her square in his mind, he wrote the script with a picture of Sigourney Weaver on his desk. Cameron said if the first movie was a haunted attraction, this one would be a roller coaster. But before Cameron could get started, Fox had some conditions. Hurd insisted they could make the movie for $15.5 million, but the studio estimator said it would cost $35 million. Fox said they would make the movie for $12 million. So Cameron and Hurd quit, saying, "Thanks, we'll do something else." Fox would eventually relent, and Cameron and Hurd came back to the film. But in April, Fox tried to put its foot down again. They didn't want Weaver to return as Ripley. They were afraid she would demand too much money.
Do we really? 20th Century Fox. I don't know if there's ever been a studio who has meddled with their money-making machines more than any other studio. They're morons. I mean, it's like these guys get like a perfect running Cummins engine, and then they literally go inside and tinker with it because it's so good. Let's fuck with it.
Really need her?
Cameron and Hurd insisted that Weaver, and only Weaver, play the lead. When Fox insisted that they'd make Aliens with or without Weaver, Cameron and Hurd quit again, and they went on a honeymoon in Hawaii. When they returned, Fox had relented again.
I suddenly get this fat script.
Weaver would be in the movie, and she would make $1 million plus a percentage of the profits, the most money she had made at this time in her career. But Weaver had some concerns herself. She loved Cameron's script and provided input on what she thought her character would and wouldn't say or do. But she needed to be convinced that Fox wasn't just doing this as a cash grab. The story took place with Ripley waking up from her hypersleep 57 years after her battle with the creature and put into a position where she would have to go back and battle more of the creatures once again. Once she was convinced the movie was going to be good, she was concerned about the extensive use of guns in the film. It took some convincing, but Cameron was able to convey to her how important the guns would be. She also didn't like the idea that her character hated the aliens so much now that she just wanted to go back and kill as many of them as possible. But when they got to Newt, both she and Cameron bonded over the idea that her actual purpose was to save this little girl. The next step for Cameron was putting together a team that could bring his vision to life.
I'm alive and I'm putting together a team.
He was able to bring back Ron Cobb, who had worked on the first movie. He was also able to get conceptual artist Sid Mead, who worked on Blade Runner and 2010, The Year We Make Contact. He really wanted to bring back H.R. Giger, but he was already obligated to Poltergeist 2, and the Alien creator was disappointed he couldn't work on the film.
Depressed about the work I did, and it was no more.
So Cameron reached back to Sam Winston, who had helped him with The Terminator. With the artists and Sigourney Weaver in place, they needed to cast the rest of the actors. Because they would be filming in London to save money, before they could bring any actors from the United States, they had to go through all of the British actors in the North American Registry, as well as anyone who thought they could do a passable American accent. But casting in the UK was difficult because Cameron wanted actors who were going to be on the cutting edge of the American military, and it was tough to find people with that mentality. They would go through about 3,000 actors in the UK alone. One of the good ones they found was Jeanette Goldstein, who played Private Vasquez.
I only need to know one
She's British?
thing. Where they are.
She was born in Los Angeles and had trained as a gymnast before starting her acting career. She was living in London doing fringe theater. When she came into audition, she thought it was for a movie about immigration. She had no idea it was the sequel to Alien. So she wasn't dressed for the part at all. But luckily, the blouse she was wearing was sleeveless, which showed off her muscular arms. And if you look closely in the movie, she had brown makeup and contact lenses applied to make her look like the correct ethnicity for Private Vasquez. While frowned upon today, that was pretty normal for the era at that time. Goldstein later said that the role was originally supposed to go to two-time Miss Olympia Rachel McLish, who was going through acting lessons at the time, but dropped out saying she would never swear as it was against her religion. Cameron had to get studio approval for Goldstein and stuck to his guns saying, "This is the girl."
He said, "This is who I want." So I'm glad he is the bastard that he is.
This was Goldstein's first movie, and it would kickstart a career that included Lethal Weapon 2, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Star Trek Generations, and Titanic. Mark Ralston, who played Private Drake, was another American actor living in the UK. He was born in Baltimore, Maryland, but traveled at 17 to do a junior
That doesn't look anything. What?
year abroad. He ended up staying there and going into acting. Aliens was also his first movie and would launch a career that included RoboCop 2, The Shawshank Redemption, and Midway, as well as more than 80 television roles. 10-year-old Carrie Henn wasn't even an actress when she was selected to play Newt. It turned out to be very difficult to find a child near London that can do an American accent. Her father was an American stationed at RAF Lakenheath, and her mother was English. The other children they had auditioned with acting experience was used to auditioning for commercials, so they would smile after delivering their lines, which just wasn't appropriate for a girl suffering from traumatic stress.
It's not quite as good, but...
Carrie had none of that conditioning, and she had the look that they wanted. After Aliens, Henn would win a Saturn Award for Best Performance by a Younger Actress, but acting would not be in her future. She eventually graduated from California State University Stanislaus and became a schoolteacher. In 2016, she attended San Diego Comic-Con for the 30th anniversary reunion of the Aliens cast members.
You never said anything about an android being on board. Why not?
But not all of the actors could be found in the UK, so Cameron and Hurd reached back to the United States and some old friends. Lance Henriksen, who played Bishop, went all the way back to Cameron's first directed movie, Piranha 2.
If Bishop didn't work out, I was going to quit acting.
Henriksen had supported Cameron during what would be a difficult shoot, and they became friends. Their working relationship would continue when Cameron did The Terminator, as Lance was originally cast to play the killer robot, until everyone realized Schwarzenegger was the obvious choice. Friends or not, Henriksen still had to audition for the part of Bishop.
So Jim auditioned me, and I used what I thought was right for the role. I was following some really great performances.
He was concerned about how he would play the role, considering the recent portrayal of androids with Ian Holm in Alien and Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner.
And I thought, how am I going to compete with it? And then I realized, you can't compete with it.
Henriksen decided to play the android like an innocent child who pitied the short-lived humans. Henriksen's acting would continue to solidify the importance of the android story in the Alien franchise going forward. After Aliens, he would go on to act in more than 230 roles on the big and small screen.
Damn.
That's great. That's just fucking great, man.
When someone thinks of the movie Aliens, there is typically one line that always comes to mind.
That's it, man. It's game over, man. It's game over.
Bill Paxton had already worked with Cameron as a set builder for Roger Corman and in a small role on The Terminator. But despite that, he was still nervous at his audition for Hudson over the 4th of July weekend in 1985. He thought he had overacted and was way over the top, and he didn't think he'd ever hear from the director. But when Weird Science came out less than a month later, Paxton's character Chet helped seal the deal.
You're dead meat, Pilgrim.
As it would turn out, Paxton's take on Hudson was exactly what Cameron was looking for. Hudson would be the release valve for the audience's tension.
Yo! Stop your grinning and drop your linen.
His fear and ridiculous comments would allow the audience to release their anxiety and then let it build back up again. After Aliens, Paxton would go on to memorable roles in movies like Tombstone, Apollo 13, Twister, and...
Man, I got like a bunch of pressure in my sinuses.